No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Friday Night Smackdown for September 1st, 2023. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. Either way, I appreciate your viewership and support. Let's get right down to this recap with Payback just 24 hours away. 24 little hours. We opened up the show Hershey, Pennsylvania, in a major way. The return of John Cena. First time since Money in the Bank that we've seen Cena. Well, we can't see Cena, but you know what I mean. He came to the ring, loud chants for Cena. Gone are the days of being booed. The crowd treats John Cena like he's one of the all-time greats, as they should, quite frankly. He said that the fans gave him the opportunity to be back. He said for months. And it is true. John Cena is booked for WWE television through the end of October. I guess when there's a strike in Hollywood, things happen. John Cena has some free time. He's back. And it looks like he's back for an actual run here as 2023 enters its final 4 months. He talked about also going to India. And on top of all that, he's back for a while. He's going to be wrestling in India for the first time. And he will be hosting Payback tomorrow night on the WWE Network. He said he is going to do his best to give back to the fans. And at this point, Jey Uso showed up. Jey Uso has brand new entrance music. I like it. It sounded similar to the Usos theme song, and I like the change. I think it was a solid theme hearing it for the first time, which means it should catch on relatively quickly for me. The crowd was chanting, "We want Jey." Jimmy said the people came to see him, and he once again explained that he did what he did because he loves his brother, did not want his brother to be corrupted like Roman Reigns and John Cena. Jimmy said that Roman and John are exactly alike. They both take. The only difference is that Cena does it with a smile. Crowd was once again chanting for Cena, and Cena had a little burn for Jimmy. Cena said there was one thing, and he held up the one that he wanted to say. The wrong Uso quit. Jimmy went for a super kick. John Cena caught it, took him down with the AA. Big pop for Cena. Great opening segment. Shout out to Big G, who was in attendance for this show in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Nice little town near Harrisburg. I went to the Hershey Park a few years ago. Crowded as hell, so did not do much. Plus, this was still during COVID's peak. Well, a little past the peak, but still when it was a thing. And it's a nice area. I like the arena, like the theme park. I like Harrisburg. Shout out to the people there. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $9.68 super chat. Thank you for that, Caleb. Much love and appreciation to you. John Cena is bigger than the WWE. The only reason he is there is because he wants to be. Well, he's definitely there because he wants to be. Like, dude does not need the money. Let's be real. John Cena has more money than what he knows how to spend it. He just does not need it. And he's there because he has the passion for WWE, and he wants to be able to give back to the company that made him what he is today. Millions of dollars in the bank, all these movie roles, television roles. WWE was very good to John Cena, and he's been good to them, and it's been a tremendous relationship between John Cena and WWE. He's one of those guys that I cannot imagine ever going to AEW. We had a backstage interview with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. They were basically laughing at the idea of John Cena being the host of Payback. We got Theory and Waller as a tag team. I like it. We had a tag team match. Holla, holla, holla. Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar of LWO going up against Theory and Waller. Santos and Rey were working pretty well together in the early part of the match. Santos at one point launched Rey over the top onto Theory and Waller. Pretty standard tag team match, though. Bad guys got the upper hand for a while. Santos got the hot tag, came off the top with a Hurricane Rana to Waller, but Theory broke it up. And then Theory went to tackle Rey Mysterio, but Santos pushed Rey aside. Santos took the bullet, and his already injured leg was further injured in the process. That led to Waller taking advantage, hitting the rolling stunner to get the 1-2-3 victory. The plot thickens between between Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar. I sense that heel turn is coming sooner rather than later. And Waller picks up a victory. Good for him. Backstage, Michin was talking to Adam Pearce, and Jimmy Uso interrupted. Neither of them were happy. Michin felt disrespected, so she went to the OC. AJ Styles said he would take care of business. We then had Bobby Lashley come into the ring looking as only he can look. He talked about what's up between him and the Street Profits, and he said, real recognizes real. He brought out the Profits. Lashley said they're more aggressive than they've ever been. Montez Ford gave some gratitude to Lashley. They were joking around, smiling, having a good time. But Lashley got serious and said that they are going to take care of everybody. Everyone's on notice. They're coming for power, control, and championships. He left the ring with the Profits, and then Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn arrived. Street Profits let them pass, and we had our next match, which was the LWO members Cruz and Wild against Owens and Zayn in a non-title match, basically one of these contender matches. It wasn't even really competitive. It was a glorified squash match, which if this was AEW, these guys would have gone like 3 segments and Wild and Cruz would have kicked out of numerous moves from these guys. But no, it was basically a squash match. And you know what? I could kind of see the argument both ways. Maybe it should have been a little bit more competitive, but LWO, that's kind of been their deal. They really do not win that often. And plus, if they're all going heel, you can have the LWO take some losses and then they finally snap and then you can start pushing them. I guess you can do that. Anyways, Zayn and Owens won. No surprise here that they picked up the victory since they have the match at Payback. And Sami Zayn briefly got on the mic and said that Judgment Day, Damian Priest and Finn Balor will be in the fight of their life at Payback in the Steel City street fight. Yes, it was basically a showcase match for Owens and Zayn. And Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat with an idea. Bobby Lashley versus Roman Reigns. It's definitely a possibility, but I still feel like the Profits and Lashley are going heel. There was definitely the tease of the Profits going after KO and Sami Zayn for the tag team titles. All the more reason why I think the champions are retaining at Payback. If anybody's going to beat them for the titles, I suspect it will be the Street Profits. And Bobby Lashley maybe goes after LA Knight at some point. We'll have to wait and see how far this LA Knight gets pushed. And more on LA Knight in just a moment. Backstage, we had the Street Profits confronting Jimmy Uso. Or we had AJ Styles confronting Jimmy Uso. And Jimmy shoved AJ. AJ shoved him back. Solo Sikoa appeared out of nowhere and knocked down Styles. Solo said that Jimmy is out of the bloodline when they say he is. Jimmy said they cannot tell him what to do, and he stormed out of the building. And after the commercial break, AJ Styles issued a challenge, one-on-one main event with Solo Sikoa. OC did not really seem all aboard on this idea, but Styles was insistent on trying to get some payback, no pun intended, on Solo Sikoa. And no, I do not think Rey Mysterio is turning heel. Chat room is debating it. I would say it's highly unlikely in all likelihood. We had The Miz come to the ring, and he said that LA Knight is not on his level. LA Knight came to the ring, massive pop, as you would expect. He did his catchphrase, and the crowd was going nuts. They were chanting his name. He said Miz did yet another cosplay. First it was The Rock, then it was John Cena, and now it's LA Knight. LA Knight said that all three of those guys are people that The Miz wants to be. LA Knight talked about how he was living in roach-infested apartments, paying his dues, coming out of the gutter, and now he's above and beyond the level of The Miz. The Miz said that LA Knight just wants to be like him. LA Knight was on a reality show and he was the first guy eliminated. Miz once again brought up how he got to WWE in just 3 years. And LA Knight responded by saying that the star of Miz's reality show is the Miz's wife, Maurice. And after Payback, after he loses, maybe the Miz's wife can give LA Knight a phone call. Miz responded by saying that LA Knight could succeed in WWE, but he's going against the wrong superstar. LA Knight said one thing the Miz said was true. LA Knight doesn't know how to quit, and at Payback, Miz is going to get stomped courtesy of the megastar. And then a fight broke out. Miz went for the throat and got the best of LA Knight, took him down with the skull-crushing finale. Miz left the ring, was walking back. LA Knight proven what he said, that he wasn't a quitter. He got back up. He went after Miz. They continued fighting, and officials came down to break them up. Very good segment here with these guys, entertaining back and forth between these two. I'm actually looking forward to the match. I don't think Miz is winning, nor do I think he should win at this stage of the game, but Miz definitely held his own mic-wise, and some might say he even outshined LA Knight on the mic. I think it was a solid segment back and forth, and I think they effectively built some heat for the match. There you go. And the crowd was eating it up. LA Knight did stumble a bit. He's been stumbling his lines a little bit. Miz rarely does. I mean, every once in a while he flubs the line. LA Knight, I feel like he's now in the high pressure situation, and You know, it's something that I don't think he's used to because he's been at a lower level for so long, NWA, Impact Wrestling, and even NXT. Now he's out there getting a major push, the biggest push of his career. And yeah, he has been flubbing his lines a little bit, but still, he definitely has the charisma to get the fans invested. And as Matthew said, sometimes it's not a negative if somebody screws up their line because it feels more authentic. It doesn't feel like they're reciting lines from a script. It feels like a real dialogue between two people. Pressure is on for LA Knight. We'll see if he can continue the momentum. And they were really pushing the idea that he needs the win, which I do agree on. And I think he will pick up the win. We had Bayley versus Shotzi in a singles match, and they've actually been building this up for several weeks, but wasn't a big enough match to be on the Payback card. Shotzi has her hair spiked now. Looks pretty good. I like it because it's a different look. It's unique. And she's just unique in general. Bayley was mocking her hair, and she paid for it. Shotzi came off the apron with a cannonball to Bayley. And after the commercial break, Bayley got the upper hand for a while. Went for the big elbow, but Shotzi got her knees up, sent Bayley to the outside, hit a suicide dive, got Bayley back in the ring, but then Bayley regained the upper hand. Shotzi then regained control, went up top, but Io Sky provided a distraction, and then Bayley wanted to use Io's championship, and that's when Charlotte Flair, everybody's favorite wrestler, Charlotte showed up, and Charlotte hit Io with a big boot, missed her, but meant to hit her. It was a botch. And then Charlotte took a shot at Bayley while the referee was not looking. Shotzi hit a DDT and got the 1-2-3 victory over Bayley. It's good. Shotzi gets a win here, much needed. Bayley is basically in that role of putting over other people. And then after the match, Charlotte endorsed Shotzi, raised her hand. Next week, it's going to be a tag team match with these 4 participants. And Dakota Kai is out there basically in a manager role as she is recovering from injury. It was fine. It was fine for what it was. We had a video package for Seth freaking Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura, which is at Payback. And Marshall, I think LA Knight and The Miz is a one-off. I don't expect the feud to continue. I would be surprised, and I really don't think it should. We had AJ Styles versus Solo Sikoa in the main event. Back and forth competitive match with these two. Styles got a little distracted as Paul Heyman came down to the ring, but Styles kept the momentum going, came over the top with a forearm to Solo. And after the commercial break, Solo got the upper hand. He basically threw Styles. They were in the ring. He threw Styles into the corner, and Styles' spine connected with the ring post. Solo dominated for a bit, but then Styles avoided the Samoan spike. However, he was hit with a Samoan drop. He managed to kick out of that. And then Styles regained the upper hand, went for the phenomenal forearm, but guess who returned? Jimmy Uso knocked Styles off the top rope while Heyman was distracting the referee. Solo hit the Samoan spike to pick up the win. And then after the match, Solo was going to hit Jimmy with the spike, but Paul Heyman said no. Solo left the ring, and Jimmy, I guess, to send a little bit of a message to Solo and the Bloodline, he kicked Styles with the super kick, came off the top with the big splash to Styles, and his music played as SmackDown went off the air. No Usos, or not Usos, no OC is what I meant to say. No Gallows, no Anderson. John Cena must have left the building. Nobody out there to help poor AJ Styles. They don't want none of the bloodline. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, says, do you think Roman Reigns is going to reject Jimmy? Not necessarily. I think Roman Reigns would like all the help he can get, unless maybe WWE brings in a new Samoan to be part of the bloodline. Like, that's always a possibility too. But Jimmy's a heel now, and one would think that Jimmy and Reigns will have some kind of connection with Jimmy being a heel, but they gotta let it have a natural progression. It can't just be all of a sudden Jimmy and Roman Reigns are good. You know, there's got to be a build up for that. And yeah, I do think we're going to see Jimmy Uso versus John Cena. I feel like the seeds were planted for it during this show. And maybe they do bring in somebody like Jacob Fatu. There's certainly some possibilities. Maybe Umaga's son could come in at some point. All in all, it was a good show. The crowd was awesome. Shout out again to Hershey, Pennsylvania. Sold out crowd. Like, they were really energetic for the whole show. Even Shotzi's match, they were chanting, "Let's go Shotzi." They were into it. So yeah, good crowd and good show overall. I think I would go with a B. It wasn't a top tier SmackDown in my opinion. You know, Roman wasn't there, but we did have Jimmy there. John Cena coming back was definitely a big highlight. The matches were fine. I mean, nothing too spectacular, fairly standard content from WWE, but it was a very enjoyable show overall. I liked it. And that's all I got for SmackDown. We do have Payback coming up. We have All Out coming up. Check out the predictions for both shows up on the No DQ YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. In case you're watching this on Twitter or Facebook, stay tuned to NoDQ.com for pay-per-view coverage of both events. Premium live event for Payback, pay-per-view for All Out. That's the proper terminology. And I'll be back after both of those shows. It's a busy weekend. I'll be streaming live. I flub my lines too all the time. It happens. So, you know, you just got to deal with it. You got to roll with the punches when it's live. Thank you again to everybody. Much love and appreciation to everybody out there. Stay safe. Take care. I will see you all next time. And remember, say yes to NoDQ.com. Peace out.